Colorado lost to Nebraska last night. 10-28 was the final in Lincoln. Here's my question. Has anything changed at Colorado? And I have more to that, but I think it's a fair question to ask right now based on the way that Nebraska just dominated that line of scrimmage, based on the way that they were more efficient, based on the way that they won the turnover battle. Has anything really changed in Boulder, Colorado? Now, make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. Colorado fans, we're going to talk about your buffs now, so make sure you're locked in here. College football fans, we're going to talk about college football, the greatest sport on the face of the planet. So make sure you're locked in here. We appreciate you for being subscribed. So when I say has anything changed, I want us to be fair in that discussion because it's been 2 weeks. What Colorado is through 2 weeks of this season does not define them, does not mean that's who they have to be going forward. Same way that we talked about Michigan. As of 2 weeks through the football season, they are not what they expect to be. But the good news for both the folks in Ann Arbor and in Boulder, Colorado, the season is not a 2-week ordeal. So there's that. There's also been some improvement. So when I say the same team, I'm not saying there hasn't been some places where I've seen Colorado be better. I think they were better rushing the passer. I do think that defense in some spots has shown a little bit more teeth. There's been some improvement. But when I say has anything changed, what I'm speaking to is, are they a different kind of team at Colorado? Because you can improve and still be the same kind of team. And when I say that, when I say same kind of team, I'm talking about, do you have any kind of anything running the football? Do you have any kind of anything stopping the run? And I said they've improved on defense, but y'all yesterday, Nebraska got what they wanted running the football. Now, Colorado was a lot better in the second half stopping the run, but the results overall, from what I can tell, even if there's marginal improvement in different spots, is relatively the same. And we said that Colorado early on last offseason had some hints of dysfunction. And I mean, we got killed for that too, saying they were dysfunctional. But the reason why I say that schematically, Colorado, functional-wise, the way that they would like to operate, did not have how they want to operate. You want to have balance as a football team. They didn't have that. Your leading rusher had 32 yards. Up front, still can't protect Shedeur Sanders. And I think Shedeur Sanders is one of the best quarterbacks in college football. If you were to stand on the table and tell me he should be the first quarterback taken, I wouldn't have this tremendous pushback on that right now. Travis Hunter's pound for pound the best player in college football. Okay, but again, functionality-wise, they do not have things in place to function properly. There is not a complementary style of ball being played in Boulder. And so you can only get into a track meet with so many teams. Like Colorado, they were good defensively. They were getting after Shedeur. They did a great job on the back end, mixing up coverages. They were able to play man with Colorado, which is what we said all week had to be the case for them to win that football game. And there was no other answers for Colorado. Now, internally, I am not in that building. I do not pretend to know exactly what's going on. However, I will say this. From the broadcast copy, which again, I am way out here looking in, so I don't want to pretend that I know everything. The body language that we saw from Colorado, to me, was concerning. You got guys, the broadcast talking about guys sitting 20 yards away from their teammates. That's concerning. Seeing the body language when really the game wasn't out of reach by any stretch of the imagination. It was still an 18-point game in the third, fourth quarter. Still a game where you can fight, scratch, claw, find a way to get back into it. Did not see any fight. From where I am standing, Colorado threw in the towel. Waved the white flag. Okay? That was concerning to me. Because to go on the road and for this to be a rivalry game, this is a game that you won last year, and to just, from what I can tell, body language-wise, look as poor as you did yesterday, that is very concerning. Having the towel over your head, that's concerning. Not telling you it's the end-all, be-all, but good football teams don't have that kind of body language. Now, before you say we're hating on Colorado, said the same exact thing about Florida State after they played Boston College. So nobody's picking on Colorado here. And I think that's the other thing I want to talk about with Colorado. Anytime you say something true about Colorado or have a take on Colorado that's not overwhelmingly positive, it's, you're hating on Colorado. Nobody's hating on Colorado, all right? They just had an offensive line showing that was abysmal last night. They had a pretty horrendous defensive showing last night in terms of trying to stop the run. They looked a lot better in the second half. I want to make sure we say that. But nobody is going after Colorado here. Okay? honestly, for me, it would be better if Colorado were to go undefeated and win the national championship. If we're just going to talk about this from like a business point of view, that would be phenomenal. I'd love to see Colorado do well. Also, I think Deion Sanders and how he operates, like, I love to see him have success. I think the way that he's brought interest to college football is tremendous. But again, if we're just talking about what happened last night, Colorado has a lot left to be desired, in my opinion. So what has to change? Like, that's the question you have to ask now. Has anything changed? Probably still too early to call. If you're asking me based on last night, I would say probably not. But again, long runway. The way things have to change, I think you got to have somebody in that locker room draw a line in the sand and say, hey, it's not okay. This is not how we're going to operate. This is not how we're going to operate. We're not going to have this body language. We're not going to have this woe is me mentality. We're not going to have this, segmented sort of approach now going forward after we have a tough loss. Like, that cannot be the way they go forward now. They need real internal locker room leadership. Again, I'm not telling you don't have it. It'd be true for Colorado. It's the same way it's true for Florida State. Same way it's true for Michigan. Like, there has to be a line drawn in the sand and a standard set for everybody. Again, in that locker room, not the coaching staff down, in that locker room, because that's where ownership begins. Okay? That's where ownership begins. I want to say this too, and this is, again, nobody's hating on Colorado. We said this back in the offseason. I'm saying it again. We need to reset the expectations around them, because the danger with them was as soon as Colorado beat TCU last year, which was a great win. I didn't see it coming. I was eating crow the Sunday after. It became very quick on, hey, you got to pick a side on Deion Sanders. And like, I honestly, I understand and respect the thought. It's like, hey, you're either with us or you're against us. But within the college football public, very quickly it became, you think he's going to win a national title or you think he's horrible. And my thing I said throughout the course of that entire, like, do you believe, is like, well, I've seen one game. Same thing I would say after last season. I've seen one season. I don't think one season has the book out on anybody. Going 4-8. I told you last year, I think that was an improvement. I thought last year going 4-8, winning 3 more football games than they did the season before Deion Sanders got there, was an improvement, was a success. Nationally relevant. Don't care what anybody says. Nationally relevant football team is Colorado. Steve Sarkisian won 1 more football game than Deion Sanders did his first year at Texas. Went 5-7. They made the college football playoff last year. So there's some runway here. But again, I need us to reset our expectations and how we communicate when we talk about Colorado. Like, they're not going to be a Big 12 title contending team this year. They're just not. And that's okay. That shouldn't be the expectation for them after going 4-8 last year. The expectation should be, let's get to a bowl game. Let's find a way to create balance. Let's find a way to protect our quarterback, who's arguably the best quarterback in college football. Like, let's find a way to maximize Travis Hunter. Like, all these things where I'm like, let's just get to a bowl game and move forward from there. So Colorado last night looked very, very similar to what we saw a season ago, with the frustration stopping the run, with the inability to run the football and protect Shooter Sanders. They're just some things that just non-negotiables to get into where they want to go. So for Colorado, I'm excited to see how they respond from this. I think you talk about, the cultural stuff. And again, I'm not within the building, so I don't want to speak too definitively on that. But we will get a really good gauge for how they operate internally with how they respond to a loss like this. I'm excited to see it. Appreciate y'all being locked in. Make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.